What is up, guys? We're now on episode 4 of Talking to Myself, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about confidence. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is the 4th episode, and I've banged out all 4 of these in one day. I'm just loving life, absolutely enjoying it, and I'm quite surprised because normally it takes me ages to do one video itself or audio clip. But anyway, let's move on to confidence. So, confidence is actually... See, everyone loves confidence. If you ask a woman what is the one thing they look for in a man, it's confidence. And I think as well, there's a bit of a misperception about confidence itself. Because in society, we're either one extreme or another. That being, most people are either so shy, or they're so far on the confidence scale where they're too loud, overly expressive. It could be seen as show-off, egotistical. So I think we don't actually know what true confidence is. My view of what true confidence is an inner knowing, an inner self-belief. And that means someone that doesn't need to constantly show off, doesn't need to be overly loud, can assert himself or herself when needs to be, but can also sit back in the shadows a bit if they need to as well. Like, they have no need to constantly be bragging, saying what they've achieved all the time. But they can do if they need to, if it serves a purpose. So it's that something inner, something within. It's just that knowing. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. You don't need to belittle anyone. Because you know. You just know, no matter what people say, you have that belief within you. And the way I see it, in society in particular, people who claim to be confident are in fact overcompensating for a inner, let's call it there's like something lagging within them, lacking. So they're overcompensating to cover up that fact. There's a little something they're scared of. They've got that insecurity, you know. And in fact, the reason why I made this audio clip, I was watching a YouTuber. It's David Alvarez. He's quite a funny dude. He does like pranks and all kind of stuff. But he had this person on. She does OnlyFans. Sky Bree, her name is, I believe. So they were just doing like one of the funny videos he does, or whatever, all that stuff. But even in this video, that has nothing to do with her day job. She's OnlyFans day job, adult actress as well. It had nothing to do with that. It was just a comedy video. But even in that situation, you could tell she was still craving that attention. It was so obvious. Now I'm going to say, this is not coming from a place of judgment. This is just an observation, because I'm able to observe now and see that how obvious it is when someone is having a bit of fake confidence. Now, what I mean by this particular individual was wearing very little clothing, very mini skirt, very revealing top. Every opportunity to do something sexual, she would do that in front of the camera. Bend over when she doesn't need to bend over. Make sexual remarks when there's no need to do that. And like I said, this is not coming from a place of judgment, this is an observation. It's clear that this individual, and I'm sure many others like this, they actually just crave the attention. They want to be noticed, to be recognised. And because they want that so badly, they're literally overcompensating by doing wearing the extreme mini clothing, doing over sexual things, just to get in any way to get the eyes on them. And okay, we can argue, yeah, someone just wants attention. They or in this case, girls who would say attention for this particular individual. But this actually stems from a deep-rooted trauma, and it's quite disturbing in a way. But so it can come from the case where, for example, parent could be a dad or the mum don't give the child attention as a child when they were younger even. And as a child, you need that attention, you need that support, that comfort, that guidance. You may need hugs, kisses, whatever it may be, because you rely on your elders for survival. And if that is lacking from a child as they're growing up, they ultimately they don't develop properly. And they're still stuck in those childhood ways. As a child, they need to find ways to get their attention if mum or dad's not giving it to them naturally. So the kid will maybe throw a tantrum, maybe do something extreme just to say, get mum and dad to look their way to survive. Now here's the issue. If the child stays in that frame of mind and doesn't grow out of it, when they become adults, as they get older, they still have this imprint in their head. They just present it out and manifest it in a different way. So in the case of this, the person wasn't necessarily just having a tantrum. I mean, maybe she does in her day-to-day life. I don't know that. But in this case, the equivalent of the tantrum was being overly sexual, doing stuff like trying to stand out in ways that you don't really need to stand out in, just to get their attention. Because in her head, that is survival. She feels safe in that way. The safety is coming from that attention because there's the fear of abandonment. And that's actually what it comes down to. And this is the fake confidence, what I say about. So fake confidence is coming from a place of insecurity, from a trauma, a deep-rooted issue that needs to be healed. Now, the healing and stuff is for another day, because this is, as I mentioned in some other clips, I can't remember which ones, but healing is something that takes a lot of inner work that needs to be done weekly, daily, if possible, and it can take years to heal this stuff. But moving specifically to the confidence, I think using this example of this particular lady, Sky Breen, I think we'd have to compare that to someone. The ideal version would be someone that, say, is dressed in modest clothes. They're not having to, do sexual tones, sexual words, bending over when necessary. They present themselves in a way that they know they don't need that external validation. They have that internal validation. And that can only come from doing the work, which most people, as I said before, are not willing to do. The same applies for guys as well. You see guys wearing, guys seem to overcompensate with muscle as well these days. That seems to be a big thing. You might... I've definitely done this in the past, in my younger days too. But you'd wear tighter clothes, for example, to show off the gains. You know how it is amongst the boys. You show off the guns, the muscles, because you get validation from females generally. And this, once again, is coming from insecurity. Like, most people go to the gym not to be healthy or they enjoy it. They do it to become aesthetically pleasing to the eye of females that they're attracted to, ultimately. That's speaking for most guys. I'm not saying all. This is just a bit of a generalization, but seems to be applicable to a lot of guys. And I can definitely say this as well because I've been there myself. And I'm speaking from personal experience partly too. And having been in the place where I was looking for that external validation, I can now say that in order to get that inner validation, you almost have to lose the certain aspects of yourself. Now, delving deeper onto that. So in my case, I had, a few years ago, I was quite obsessed with the gym, 6-pack abs and all this stuff, working out maybe 5-6 days a week. And I thought that this was my passion, alright? I thought I wanted to do a career in this, whatever. I was unaware of this at the time, but this gym obsession, what I thought was my passion, building muscle, looking good, this was coming from a place of insecurity. Reason for this, growing up myself, I was a bit of an overweight child, not the best of looking as I was growing up, going through puberty and all this stuff. So all my friends would get attention from girls, whatever it may be, but it was never me. I was a bit of the outcast, really. So this was my way when I finally started becoming old enough. I don't know, 16, 17, wherever the age was, I can't remember now. But when I started being out to actually go to the gym, I started packing on a bit of muscle. I would, I'd have that. I'd have the biceps. I could say, yeah. Some people can look at me now and think, look at this guy, he's in good shape. And that's my way of getting the validation externally. But here's the funny thing. Despite having these muscles, I actually still wasn't confident in the slightest. And this is still obvious. Sure, I can have the outer shell of these bulging biceps, this six-pack abs. But if you were to tell me to go do something like, I don't know, have an authentic conversation with a girl, or be direct and communicate in a direct and authentic way as well, still couldn't do that. I was still that little child that grew up with no validation, lack of confidence. I was just in a bigger meat suit, so to speak. It was covering it all up. And what I said about earlier, when you have to almost lose the stuff you have in order to actually understand it from a different view. So in my case, I was going through a bit of a self-development phase, maybe started a few years ago. But I went from the phase of having these muscles to actually losing the muscle. I stopped, for whatever reasons at the time, lost a bit of interest in the gym, having my own troubles, stopped going to the gym as much, and eventually after a while I actually put on a bit of weight, to the point where not a single ab, I wouldn't say, like majorly overweight, but I had a bit of a gut on me, let's put it that way. So it's gone from that thing that made me who I was, the six-pack abs, that's how I got the validation. I lost that way that I got the validation. Now I had nothing to rely on. I had a bit of a beer belly. I no longer had this sculpted physique that I could rely on. And I was no longer going to the gym as much as I did. Wearing these tighter tops wasn't the most ideal solution, because now I had a bit of a belly, so it would just show off my belly and insecurity. So I had to get comfortable in this new body of mine. And strangely enough, that's where the confidence arose, the inner confidence. Because I wasn't relying on the external. I wasn't relying on having this muscly body. I had to find it within. I had to develop myself in the way that I would present myself, mentally as well. That was the key thing, mentally. This is all a mind game. And this is going to be another topic I'm going to talk about in a different episode. But confidence was such a big mental thing. Because we're having this belly, it meant I was insecure. So I had to present myself in society. I couldn't hide, but I had to present myself in a way that dealt with that insecurity. And I realise I've gone past the point a little bit here. But what I wanted to say was, to summarise, in order to get real confidence, my view on it is you have to first deal with your insecurities, heal them first, in order to have that deep inner knowing belief, so you're not reliant on the external. So guys, it goes back to the thing I said in a previous episode. Start doing the inner work to find out your insecurities and start working on them day by day. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.